the biggest thing that my international clients, especially the ones who are here on visas, are worried about really is the guardianship of their children. They want to make sure that if something happens to them, the children can get back to living with, their parents or their siblings back in whatever country it is that they're from.
Right. And let's talk about the practicalities of that, because that's what you really kind of have to focus on when the client's sitting there with you. Can a non-U.S. citizen or even a non-U.S. resident, can that person be appointed a guardian of a child who is here in the U.S., possibly born in the U.S., a U.S. citizen?
Right.
Can a foreigner be appointed by the court to be a guardian?
And that answer varies with the state that is dealing with the guardianship.
Sure.
In California, the answer is yes. In some other states, the courts will not even appoint someone who is not a resident of that state.
Oh, okay.
So, for example, I believe, I haven't looked at this in a number of years, but when I was looking into it some time ago, Illinois, for example, will not let someone who is not an Illinois resident become the guardian for the children.
Okay.
The guardian must live in the state of Illinois. But in California, the law will allow foreign guardians to be appointed, whether it's, from a different state or it's from a different country. As you know, again, not to nerd out too much, but every guardianship, a court investigator is appointed to look into the guardian's background and make sure that it's an appropriate individual for the child to live with. They don't want to put the child into a drug dealer's home. They don't want to put the child into, some other felon's homes, things like that. So there is actually a court employee who investigates everyone. Yeah. When they're dealing with a foreign guardianship, even if it's a close relative, they are much more careful, because once the child leaves California and goes, to England or to Israel or to Hong Kong or even to Canada, the court is not going to have jurisdiction over that person. They're not going to be able to get the child back and rescue them from a bad situation.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, they still have jurisdiction over the guardianship, but they don't have any ability to, send law enforcement out or anything.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's definitely a distinction. Technically, there's jurisdiction, but there's no enforcement capability.
No actual power.
No actual power. And, frankly, I mean, Kirsten, you encounter this in your own practice. Every time you have a client who wants to appoint a guardian who lives out of the state of California, the court also has jurisdiction, but has very limited enforcement powers when any child is removed from the state of California. Now, if they're within the United States, obviously it's a little bit easier to figure out an enforcement mechanism or to, get the sister state to cooperate.
Exactly. We have the FBI and we have reciprocity, and the states work together.
Exactly.
We can't necessarily say that about Hong Kong or Malaysia or even England. Those are,
or again, even Canada. I mean, we have no enforcement,
especially now.
Especially now. So exactly. So, I think that, frankly, a lot of attorneys encounter this and they don't necessarily think about what the ramifications are if they name, even if they're naming somebody that's just in Nevada or in Oregon or in Arizona as the guardian. It's going to be a more thorough vetting process. It's going to take more time.
Thank you for joining us today for another episode of Absolute Trust Talk Live. If you enjoyed listening in, then don't forget to subscribe. You can find us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you may listen by searching Absolute Trust Talk. While you're there, we would also love for you to leave us a review. And then why not share your favorite episodes with family, friends, or colleagues too? You can find all of our shows and corresponding show notes by visiting absolutetrustcounsel.com. You'll also find a variety of other free resources, including our ebooks, videos, blogs, presentations, and more. If you need help with your estate planning or administration, we also offer a free discovery call to help get the process started. You can find more information on booking your session by visiting absolutetrustcounsel.com/scheduling. Don't forget to keep an eye out for our next live episode. If you join us for the broadcast, you can submit questions during the show, But if not, don't worry. You can always get in touch with us by sending a quick message to info@absolutetrustcounsel.com. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you soon.